Hello, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Cloud. Today we're going to look at a feature or a service or whatever you want to call it within BigQuery called data preparations. And data preparations is a point of click way of transforming data. So some of you may remember a service called Dataprep that used to exist within Google Cloud that was by a company called Trifecta that I believe Google bought. From what I can see, this looks very similar. It displays your data, it shows you all the various metrics and allows you to create a series of transformations. You can schedule it to get it to do these transformations on a regular basis. They've slathered in a nice helping of Gemini and AI to have a natural language way of creating these automations and joins and filtering. So I thought it'd be a great opportunity for us to have a look around another interesting data transformation AI feature that Google is adding into BigQuery. So let's go. To create a new data preparation, what we need to do is just go into BigQuery. We're going to go to the little drop down here and click data preparation. So what you can do, which is quite nice, is you can search for tables within your cloud environment. I'm going to search for a public data set. Here we go. So let's just add this as a source. So as you've added it as a source, you'll see this specific screen. I'm just going to collapse this on the left so we can get a better view of things. On your right hand side, you've got your Gemini assistant that's going to help you and suggest potential transformations you can apply to the data. You'll also see any steps that have already been applied. So here we've just got a read. So it's just reading from the public data set currently. We've got a load of suggestions, as I say, and you can apply any of these suggestions or copy the code or rate it. And then looking at the data itself, we can see all of the different columns. We can get an idea of duplication. So if there's any rows that have got the same value within them, we can look at that kind of skew. We can see that, for example, there's 50 rows displayed on this page that have the same value of 2025. This is 2025 data. You will be very familiar with this kind of diagram if you've been working in data science or data preparation for machine learning modeling. You can see all of the various data types. You can select specific rows. If you need to, you can select a specific column, get suggestions based on that column specifically from Gemini. You can also go into the schema, see what's going on in the schema. For example, say we wanted to drop a particular column. Let's drop temp. It's probably the worst one we could drop, but we'll drop it. If I click here and click drop, obviously I'm not dropping that from the source table. What I'm doing is I'm dropping that from my output table, the table that will exist after that I've completed my preparation steps. So you can see if we go into our applied steps now, we're reading it, and then we are dropping that column, and that's part and parcel of our transformation steps towards an output. You also see an error at the top saying you have a problem here, this isn't going anywhere. And what you can do is you can specify an output. So at the bottom here, if I click here and click destination, I can put this into a data set. So let's create a new data set called example prep. Leave it in there. We can add our tags. We can create all the various specific settings that we would expect when we're creating a data set normally. Let's create that data set, example prep, and then I can chuck it in a table, which I can create as well. Prep data, save. And then what we should see is we now have read this data, drop this column, write this data into this new table. So as you can see how this would be useful for running through exactly the same preparation steps of a source when you're getting it ready for machine learning models, etc. So a couple of other things you can do. So inside of here, you can filter things out. So if we go back to data, let's just go back to the suggestions actually in the first instance. So I'm not saying any of these transformations are correct or incorrect. I'm just doing them as an example here. So let's just apply this transformation from changing a year to an int64. So let's apply that. just so we can see the example of that appear within the applied steps. What you notice once it's applied it, you'll see the number of, if you're filtering, you'll see the number of columns drop. What we should see with our year is now an integer. Converts column year from type string to integer 64. Now our column is an integer 64. You could also filter. Let's say we want to filter to a specific month. Within the filter, within most of these things in here, you can just ask it in natural language. So if we say filter MO to only one, it's not always perfect, doesn't always like it. I think they tried to be really strict with what it outputs. So if it doesn't think it can do it, it just says I can't do it, which is probably better than it just taking a wild stab in the dark and causing issues. So if I apply that will apply the filter to the data. You see we've got much less rows now. All of our months are 01. And then we can see within our applied steps, another applied step. So as you can imagine, you can build out all these different steps. You can join it with other data. You can add in other transformations. You can change columns to add calculated values, etc., etc. All the kind of steps that you would potentially do with data transformation. What you can then do also is schedule this. So you can schedule this transformation to run on a regular basis. So once you've got everything right and the output is exactly as you want it, you can schedule this to run on a daily basis, and then potentially you've got a lot of other actions that come off the back of that cleaned data appearing within the necessary data set and table. Have a play with that and see what you think. Thanks for watching. Hope that was useful. We've just wrapped up going through all of the new BigQuery announcements and Google Cloud announcements from Next 25. So we'll certainly be delving into some of those individual features that were announced, the agents, the new tooling, the new branding for BigQuery in future videos. So keep an eye out for that. If you've got any other ideas, videos and things you'd like me to cover, please give us a shout. Please like and subscribe because it'll help us grow the channel and keep us building out more of these videos. And yeah, catch you on the next one. Thank you.